Yo, what's good, everybody? Peek out here in Singapore, checking back in. It's been a minute. I missed a couple of days there, and on purpose though, because the weekend was kind of getting away from me. It was really, really busy, and I'm the kind of person that when I'm upset, I don't want to post because I don't want it to get away from me. I don't want it to encourage me to stay in that feeling because feelings are meant to come and go, like visitors, right? They come to your house, they hang out for a little bit, and they leave, and then you move on to whatever you need to be doing next. So let me explain though. So I have a coach. I love August to death. She's amazing, and I want the kind of coach that she is because she does deal out doses of tough love, and that's on purpose because I don't know what I don't know. And she's, a couple of steps ahead of me. So she knows what I'm going through. She knows the dumb shit I'm going to pull. And I named it to shrink or lean in because I'm the kind of person where I make a mistake or if I'm called out on some bullshit, I want to shrink and disappear and not do any more work. I kind of want to just quit instead of leaning into whatever's going on and continue communicating. So this is what I want to talk about. A lot of times in our relationships, we have moments where suddenly our ego gets a blow, right? Sorry, let me turn that off. Maybe your spouse said something that that hit a little too close to home, and you don't like what that means for you. Maybe your child repeated something you told them way back when, and it kind of caught you in a moment where, oh damn, she dealt a dose of my own medicine to me, and it tastes kind of bitter. So those kinds of moments, a lot of times we want to either lash out and yell and scream and rant and rave and kind of make the other person feel the same that we do, so we don't feel alone in that misery. That's where they talk about, misery loves company or whatever. Or the other extreme is, okay, I'm going to shut down now. I don't feel like talking to you no more. I don't want to hear nothing else that you have to say. I am mad. I want to shrink. I want to disappear. I want to pretend like this never happened. But when you do those things, it makes it more difficult to come back and talk to the other person. It makes it more difficult to re-engage, basically, right? Because when you shrink away or when you lash out, you got to talk about that too. You got to smooth that over too. So what I would recommend, and I'm not good at it yet, I'm working on it, okay? What I would recommend is lean into the conversation. So whenever I get in trouble, I'm just using that term loosely. I didn't get in trouble, but she was like, "What are you doing all this for? You should be doing that instead." I'm thinking, why? So what I should have done is lean into the conversation. Take that conversation for what it's worth. Okay, she loves me, she cares about me, she wants to see me succeed, or she wouldn't waste her breath, right? So I need to lean into the conversation, and then going forward, I need to tell her everything I'm thinking going forward because that's where I can make a bigger mistake rather than course correct. A lot of times when I'm pulled up, right, when I am caught in some nonsense I'm doing that really has nothing to do with my business, I'm being busy instead of productive. When someone calls me out on it, I tend to get defensive. I don't want to hear it, And if I take that break, chances are I'm going to do what I want to do instead of really hear what they had to say and do what they're asking me to do instead, or at least consider what they're asking me to do instead. And that means I veer a little more to the left than I should, stay the middle ground, stay the course. Where I was being very productive and getting a lot of stuff done, if I veer too much because someone said something, chances are it'll be a bigger course correction later down the road than it is at the moment. So what I'm asking you to do is don't shrink, don't lash out. Why don't you lean into the conversation instead? It means being very, very vulnerable. It means laying out all your plans at the moment and what your thoughts are so that they can tell you, okay, well, this is what you need to do. You did not hear me when I said this, da 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 da, whatever the case may be. But that's not always easy, you see, because our egos get in the way. Our ego is our sense of self, how we feel about ourselves. And if we have a problem with someone saying something because suddenly it affects the way we see ourselves, obviously we're going to react in a particular way. But emotional intelligence means that you understand what this person is doing, realize that it's for your best interest, and then you lean into the conversation. So instead of assuming that you understand what they said to you, you either ask questions or you go back and watch. If it's a video, you go back and watch it again. Or, like I said, you ask the question. Ask the person delivering the message in the first place. Because if you ask people around them, they have their own interpretations of what's going on. And maybe the people around them don't really want to see you succeed because maybe they want to succeed first or whatever the case may be. So lean in. Don't get upset to the point that you don't want to do it anymore, or you're thinking about cutting off the relationship entirely, because that doesn't help you. If you have a coach, we're here to ask those hard questions. We're here to be in your face a little bit and tell you, look, you're being a little bit of an ass, or you're being, you're circumventing the actual problem and not creating the solution that you need to create. Maybe you're lashing out, and I need to tell you, hey, you're lashing out. You're using your anger. You're not actually using, this isn't coming from a place of love. It's coming from a place of fear. Whatever the case may be, if someone has some hard advice to give you, take it as a chance to look at yourself and be like, okay, well, obviously I can't fix the things around me. I can only fix me, my thoughts, my actions, the things that I say out of my mouth. So lean in, learn to lean in. It's not easy the first couple of times, but as you go along, you will realize it gets easier and easier, just like with all things. The first time is really hard, the second time not so bad, and maybe you still doesn't feel comfortable, but being vulnerable like that means you get to improve yourself, and faster than you would if you had to learn it the hard way on your own. So please don't get it twisted. Coaches are here to help you. Obviously, you're paying us to give you the right advice, right? But we can only tell you we can only correct what you allow us to see. So when you get upset, right? In a lot of therapy sessions, you see it online, right? People get upset and they suddenly want to clam up. They don't want to say anything else. But that's not what you want. What you want is for the therapist to ask something hard. You get upset, but then you tell them, I'm upset, so that they can ask you further questions to figure out where it's coming from. Well, why you're upset? When did this happen? Why are you telling yourself that this is what the meaning of what I said is? Those are the things that we need to get to the bottom of. But we can't do that unless you lean in. So I'm hoping this made sense to you guys. You got any questions, please shoot them in the comments below. You know I'm always around to answer questions. But at some point, you're going to want a conversation with me. So hit me up, let me know what's going on, and I will do my best to serve. Talk to you soon. Bye.